All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division, or should I say, the 154-pound division or 55-pound division. As a big card was announced yesterday by the PBC and Amazon for fights to be taking place on Amazon Prime. And it illustrated something that I've been saying on this channel for a while, I think about 7 months now. And that is that things are not what they seem with Terence Crawford and what options he has available for his next fights. Also applies not to just Terence Crawford, but several other fighters who claim they are free agents and have this option to make a fight with this guy, an option to make a fight with that guy, and that they can do whatever they want. That is not the case with Terence Crawford. And the reason is that the PBC, if needed, will walk on by right past Terence Crawford and let any Terence Crawford fight go away if they do not like it and if it's not what they want to do. And if they don't want to do it, the fighters that may want to fight him are going to be very limited in their ability to do that, because Terence Crawford's calculation about being a free agent is valuable when you get a fight. But when you do not have one, you are in no man's land. And I want to talk to you about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be talking about business. It is going to be business in the context of boxing, and it is going to relate to Canelo Alvarez fighting Terence Crawford, or Terence Crawford fighting Tim Tszyu, or Jaron Ennis, or Keith Thurman, or Errol Spence Jr., and how the options that Terence Crawford and Terence Crawford fans think he has are not what they really are, or more likely than not, are not what you think they are. Because of the way that, like I said, business works, not the business of boxing, just business. Business is business. You have the business of the car business. You have the boxing business, you have manufacturing businesses, but at the core of all businesses, hospitals are a business, universities are a business, but at the core of it are certain principles that apply to every business arrangement that you enter into, every business venture that you enter into. And that, I think, a lot of times is lost on boxing fans when we have these discussions about the fights that are going to take place this year. I think many people have, they can see the good sides of things, but they don't see the risks associated with things. They see the benefits, but they don't see the risks. They see the opportunities, but they don't see the roadblocks, or won't admit the roadblocks. But before I get into it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much. It really means a lot. Thank you for supporting the channel, and the super thanks. It's definitely one of the major ways that we're able to continue to do these videos and continue to bring this boxing content to you. This particular content is a little bit different than usual. I think it is specialized, and it's something that I'm pretty uniquely able to do, as far as when you compare it to a lot of different people that are talking boxing on a YouTube channel platform. Now, there's a lot of people that are interviewed on these platforms that can do it very well and know exactly what they're talking about. Guys like Leonard Ellerbe is a guy really that I think many people just kind of brush aside as a sidekick to Floyd Mayweather Jr., but don't really understand that this man, when he's talking, a lot of the things that he said is just very, very, very fundamental business practices. So to bring that to the conversation of what that fight that we just got announced, right? Which is Tim Tszyu and Keith Thurman, Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero and Isaac Cruz, Michael Zarafa, Landy Lara, and Sebastian Fundora is fighting somebody else as well, right? Everybody on that card is a PBC fighter. Now, Terence Crawford is a free agent. He is not signed to the PBC. He is not signed to Top Rank. He's not signed to Matchroom. He's not signed to Golden Boy. He's not signed to Queensland Promotions out in the UK. So he has benefits to that. A benefit is that he can strike a deal with any one of those guys. He can go to Al Heyman and get a fight with an Al Heyman fighter if Al Heyman wants to give him the fight. Same thing for all the other people that I name. The risk is, though, that those guys don't want to give Terence Crawford that particular fight because it's not in their interest to do so because of his free agent status. Whenever somebody is going to do a business strike a business with you, a deal with you, there's risk and there's reward. And you have to apportion the risk and you have to apportion the reward. If Al Heyman and the PBC have Keith Thurman, who's sitting on the bench, and Tim Tszyu, who's looking for a fight, and they're the ones that are putting up the money, they're the ones that have the network, Tim Tszyu just can't fight whoever he wants to fight. If nobody is going to pay for the fight, put up the money, get it on the network, do the promotions, his hands are tied to a certain extent with the PBC or with Bob Arum or with whoever else he may have been signed with. So what are they going to do? They're going to say, well, Tim, we want you to fight Keith Thurman because Keith Thurman is our fighter as well. So if you win, it's okay. It's fine for us. We still got a champion. If you lose, it's fine for us because we still have a champion. This is what Bob Arum does. This is what Oscar De La Hoya does. This is what everybody, except for maybe a guy like Don King. But Don King had all the contenders signed. So he may have all his contenders go fight the champion, but he's got all the contenders. So it doesn't matter if his contender loses because he's got the next contender, right? But that is not the scenario with Terence. That's not what's going on with Terence Crawford. So when Terence Crawford said that he is not going to fight Keith Thurman, he's not fighting Danny Garcia, he's not fighting Jaron Ennis, he acts like he doesn't want to fight Terence Crawford. He wants to fight who? Tim Tszyu, and he wants to fight Canelo Alvarez. Those two. Only problem, both of those guys are on the PBC. And the guys that paying for the fight, putting up the upfront money, would be putting it on their network is once again the PBC. So if Canelo Alvarez doesn't want that fight or is not particularly interested in that fight, then the PBC is not going to be motivated to try to get that fight for Terence Crawford. And again, with Tim Tszyu, if they don't believe that fight is going to make a lot of money with Tim Tszyu and Terence Crawford, then why would they do that? So there are the fights that Terence Crawford is going to have to take because he's not in a huge, strong financial position where it's going to be, no matter what Terence Crawford does, the PBC is going to make a lot of money. That's the case that Canelo's in. Canelo's in, look, man, who do you want to fight, Canelo? Oh, I want to fight, doesn't matter. Well, okay. Why? Because we're going to get the money. Because we know that's going to sell. We know that we're willing to invest in anything he does. Why? Because the risk is so little to them that Canelo fans are going to come out for him. Same thing with Gervonta Davis. They'll take who do you want to fight, Gervonta? Or what should we do with Gervonta? Oh, okay. We're going to fight anybody we want to fight because we know we're safe making that fight, right? But they're not going to break the bank in order and force Gervonta Davis to fight Devin Haney because Devin Haney Again, what's the risk reward for the PBC or any promoter that's out there? So when I saw that fight card announced between Keith Thurman and Tim Tszyu, nobody saw that coming, right? It was like, you can see it, you can kind of see out there like, Tim Tszyu, I don't think Tim Tszyu's going to fight Terence Crawford. I didn't think that because I'm sure Tim Tszyu would say he wants to fight him, but Tim Tszyu's most likely going to lose that fight. So, but while Tim Tszyu is actually getting his, is starting to grow, really legitimately starting to grow, legitimately starting to build a name, legitimately beating some of these older fighters that have good names like Tony Harrison. So it makes this fight with Keith Thurman makes more sense, right? And by the way, a fight that Terence Crawford said he wouldn't take. That's going to build, if Tim Tszyu is able to beat him, that's going to build Tim Tszyu and increase the value of Tim Tszyu for the PBC. Why would they push Terence Crawford to him? Terence Crawford is going to have to, if he wants to get the big paydays. Big paydays are relative. You're going to have to get the biggest payday you can get. And there's really nothing over there on Top Rank. And there's really nothing over there on Golden Boy. And there's nothing over there at Matchroom. And there's nothing over there in Queensland. Everything that Terence Crawford wants is going to be over the PBC at 154 and 147 pounds, and even at 168 pounds with Canelo Alvarez and David Benavidez. And that's just the facts, folks. That's not hating. That's looking at what's going on and making a reasonable analysis of the layout of boxing at the time as it applies to him, Errol Spence Jr., Keith Thurman, Jermell Charlo, Tim Tszyu, David Benavidez, David Morrell, Canelo Alvarez, any of these guys that are mixed up in that equation, man. And when we talk about things like Gervonta Davis and Devin Haney, it all gets lost. But anyway, that's my take. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.